He just casually came in and beat the local Barley's national team, beat every single one of them. We've got business as a topic, we've got property, we've got mortgages.
Yeah.
Love to go a bit into mindset as well.
If you have a goal and you work hard, you might not always achieve that, and that's all right.
Employee mindset to business owner mindset. Do you remember what that was actually like?
We're still a client, so I've got you to thank, I guess, for
Everything, all your success. Barley edition of Prop Sessions. Today we've got Josh Walshe, who I'm very excited to introduce at the moment, one of our longest standing clients at Prop Media, so it's a real honour and special occasion to be doing this session together. But without further ado, Josh, welcome. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And also the first ever podcast guest.
And the first ever podcast guest on Prop Sessions.
How long ago was that?
That was
must be
at least 3 years.
3 years. And I didn't realise that until we had food the other week. And you said, I was your first ever podcast guest. I had no idea. So obviously while I'm here, we've said, well, we've got to do podcast number 2. But was the last one would have obviously been.
It had a wicked title about something about the 17-year-old estate agent, because that was when you started.
Yeah. Well, like I say, it would have been 3 years ago, but obviously a lot younger. So here we are, obviously in the flesh, doing round 2.
Well, I appreciate being here.
Pleasure.
I guess just as an intro, I would love to, just kind of go into a bit about your story, who you are, how you got here.
Of course. Yeah. So I do kind of 4 main things, I guess is what I tell people. So the first one, and what kind of I class as the baby, is Walshe's property, estate agency, letting agency, property management. That's the company that I set up, as you said, 17. Seems like an eternity ago. It was 9 years ago. I set that company up now. So that's the baby. So you've got the estate agency. You've got what we call the mortgage space, which is financial services, obviously based in the UK as well. And of course, that is mortgages, residential, domestic, buy-to-let. You've got income protection, insurances, life insurance, etc. You've got developments, so building houses, buying houses, renovating them, renting them out. And then finally, you've got the politics side as well. So I'm a local councillor up in North Lincolnshire and recently re-elected as well, which you probably don't know. I got re-elected back in May this year. So I got elected when I was 21, one of the youngest ever in the country, and the youngest ever in the county. And got re-elected back in May, so obviously that's pretty cool as well. So I do 4 things. Very busy is what I tell people when I say all the things that I do. They say, how do you do all that? And I say, well, I work a very long working week, but I love what I do.
Well, you didn't mention table tennis champion.
Play table tennis as well. I used to play a lot more than I do, but while in Bali, I've been playing here with some local people. That's been really good.
Well, they're like the local team or something.
Yeah, the national local team. Yeah, so really nice people. Yeah, it's been great.
He just casually came in and beat the local Barley's national team, beat every single one of them for a casual game.
Yeah, and they had a good laugh. Now, I've been a couple of times. I went last night. A last practice with them, and it was, they've got a big group photo. I'll show you afterwards. We've got a big group photo of us all, and it's really cool. But so they're the 4 things that I do. And like I said, very lucky that I do that. I absolutely love what I do as well. So,
Brilliant. Well, there's quite a few things I want to go into. We've got business as a topic, we've got property, we've got mortgages. Love to go a bit into mindset as well. I think that's one of the most deep and transformational things we can talk about, because you've just done so many things that people aspire to do in their life at a very young age.
And a short time, I guess.
And a very short time. So I think that's it. I'd love to start it there to see if people are taste. Because we were talking the other day over lunch, and I was picking your brains
about the mindset. Yeah. So mindset is one of them things where you meet a lot of people who say, I'm driven and I want to achieve this, I want to achieve that, whether it's a financial number, whether it's I want to retire at 30, or I want to retire at 40, or I want to make 10 million, 20 million. And a lot of people say these easy phrases, I want to do this, I want to do that. And then the reality is, well, actually, it's not as easy as just, I want to do it. The reality is the hard work behind the scenes. When you see the people that have actually done it, and you sit down and say, well, how did you get there? And they're telling the hard truth of, well, it's hard work. And the mindset is, it is hard work, and you can't just expect something to happen overnight, and it's relentless. And the mindset is, you have to expect it to be tough, because it's not going to be done overnight or in every 2 weeks. These things take years and years and years. And I always say there's kind of two things you've got to do. And you've got this phrase: you've got to work hard, but you've also got to work smart as well. And you've got to do both, because if you just work hard and don't work smart, then of course you'll do well, but you won't fully achieve the potential. If you just work smart and don't work hard, again, you'll do well, but equally you won't achieve what you could have achieved. But I think if you work hard and smart and really put everything into something, whatever it is that you do, that's where you really will achieve that level of success. And the mindset, what we spoke about the other day, when we went for lunch, was the mindset that I had. And so growing up, as you said, table tennis, I've played sport from a young age. And from the age of 9, 10, I was playing table tennis 5-6 times a week, kind of every night. Used to go to school, finish school, table tennis 3 hours. At weekends, go to a tournament, go to a training camp. And I did that from the age of 10 to the age of 16. Because at that age, I wanted to be a professional table tennis player. Reality was, it was never going to happen. I wasn't good enough. There was a lot of people in the country who were far better than me, but my mindset was, this is what I want to do. Everything was table tennis, table tennis, table tennis. 16 years old, it wasn't going to happen. And it was a bit like, why? Now what do I do? It's my dream of the last 5-6 years isn't going to happen. Now what? So I went to college, got a job as a lifeguard, and kind of that's how it started really for me in the working world. And the mindset that never really changed from being driven to wanting to be that athlete, training at something every day of the week, to then wanting to get into work, and then obviously ultimately from that then go into business, which I'm sure we'll come to. That mindset for me started through sport. And I know for a lot of people it's something. When we spoke the other day, we had that conversation about there's a lot of professional athletes out there who are very good in their sport: football, tennis, badminton, rugby, whatever it is. They're good in that sport, but if you look at everything else in their life, they're very, very good at all the other aspects, because it's the mindset. And I think that translates a lot. And there's other ways, obviously, to grow and build and strengthen that mindset. But for me, sport was the big one.
Yeah, I find that's what I find fascinating, because if you became very, very good, or one of the best at that field. And that's what I found when I look at really successful people, is that if you can be the best at something, then that can translate directly over to business.
100%. And like I say, it's what we said earlier about focus. From 10 to 16, my sole focus. I did all right at school, but there were a lot of people at school who were far brighter than me, who worked a lot harder than I did, because my sole focus, table tennis. Lived and breathed it, table tennis, table tennis, table tennis. And another big lesson that I learned from that is then failure. I guess if you're classing as failure. People that are a lot better than me would have laughed and said I was never going to make it table tennis, but that was my goal. And obviously I didn't achieve that. So on paper, that is a failure. I didn't achieve what I set out to achieve, but of course I learned from that as well. I learned what actually, if you have a goal and you work hard, you might not always achieve that, and that's all right. Not everybody achieves the goal they set out to achieve, and if that happens, don't beat yourself up and think, well, I'm a failure, I'm rubbish, and kick yourself down. Accept it and think, well, actually, okay, it's not happened. Next goal. And of course, I still play table tennis. I still play locally, and I still play in the National League, and I still love it.
You also play my team and beat them using a phone.
I still love it though. And actually, I've got friends all over the world now through the sport, and the sport still means an awful lot to me. But of course, failure. And like I say, that mindset then went from that to then obviously when I had a job, and then of course I moved out with my best friends, and I needed more money. That's then when I got into kind of business. But a very small business with a small B is what I can tell people. And of course, that's how the journey started, I guess, when I was 17, 18. We seemed like an eternity ago.
Well, one more thing to pick up on before we go into business.
Yeah.
That we actually haven't talked about before, that I see in you, which is humility.
Yeah.
And you were like this, I would say, when we first talked 5 years ago.
Yeah.
So I can see it's been something that's been ingrained in you. Whether that was something I'd love to know you kind of created, or you were always like that. But this is a really feel this is something that's missing from a lot of, particularly young people, conversations about that. In today's day and age, for you, what role does humility play?
Yeah, being humble, in my eyes, is one of the most important things. Doesn't matter who you are. Doesn't matter who you are, if you're a celebrity, if you're this, if you're that, if you're earning £1,000 a month or you're earning £1 million a month. Being humbled costs nothing. Doesn't cost anything to be humble. And I think for me, obviously I grew up in the north of England, in an area that it gets quite a lot of kind of hate on in the country, I guess. Scunthorpe as a town, if you Google it, it's one of the worst places to live in the UK. It's this and it's that and it's that. And I'd say I'm very fortunate that where I grew up, both my mum and dad had a good job. They owned their house. I went to a good school and I was able to kind of do sports and do these nice things. But I didn't grow up with parents that were, didn't go to private school or do all these crazy things. But I had a nice upbringing. But certainly, I guess, first his upbringing, I was always raised to be humble. And it's something that kind of a lot of people are raised to be humble. And then they taste success. And like you say, they then change. And they don't become humble. And it's really sad to see. Because what happens when people lose that humility is it then changes them not just as a person, but it changes everything in their life. They will lose friends, they will be looked at differently from people, and it'll affect business, it'll affect everything. And I think being humble is important. And I know we spoke about a chap called Sandy who's right here, and we went out for the day the other day and explored the island, and this chap has lived in Bali his whole entire life, and it was just me and somebody else out here which was working, whatever. So me and Sandy went out for the day, and this guy has done tours and he's driven around Bali for the last 30 years. So we went to the zoo, we went to all these places, and he dropped me off at the zoo. And I said to Sandy, how many times have you been to this zoo? And he got 100. I said, have you been in? No, it's too expensive. And I said, I can't believe it. I said, Sandy, you're coming into the zoo with me. Oh, it's too expensive. And it was 100,000 rupees, £5. And no one had ever paid £5 to let him in. Out of all these people, nothing. £5. Everybody can afford £5. Then we went out and I said, right, Sandy, we're both having a day out today. And obviously you've seen some of the photographs of me and Sandy. We had a great day. And the day cost me for what I did and what he did, it was 160 or whatever. And the photographs that I've got on my phone of Sandy, and the smile on this guy, so actually you obviously know him, you introduced me to him, he's the nicest man ever. And it just shocked me that kind of, he'd done all these things and taken all these people to all these places, and no one had ever kind of invited them along to this, and it's like, wow, and kind of, I guess the pleasure is the word I'll use, the pleasure I got from kind of allowing him and gifting him this kind of opportunity, this good time. That also made me feel good. But of course, Sandy now has got memories that he'll probably have forever. He was like, this is the best day ever. He's got photographs of like the turtles in the zoo and the crocodiles and the Komodo dragons. He's like, I'm going to show my son. And it was amazing. And I think being humble, little stories like that, kind of when you think about it, what you're able to give back, it's very, very little, £5. He's got £5 they can give. And that kind of has allowed that person to do something that they've never even done and they've never even thought of doing. And humility, that is a really good example of it. And I think if more people followed the lead of that, the world would be a far better place.
Couldn't agree more.
In closing, I guess, so if anyone learns anything, humility is powerful, especially in countries like Bali, where it's an amazing country, but yeah, there's equally a lot of poverty and helping people, humility. That story, I think, is powerful.
So getting to business.
Yeah.
What was the first business that you started?
Yeah, so obviously backtracking, had the sport, didn't work out, moved out. Alex, my best friend Alex, we moved out, rented a house. All of our friends had gone to uni. We both did an apprenticeship. I didn't, as I've got a short climb what to do. So it's a lifetime. And moved out, rented a nice little house, getting paid about £1,000 a month. Obviously, not a lot to live off when you're paying rent, bills, etc., etc. So at that time, it was a case of, right, how can I make a bit of extra money? And then funnily enough, going back to the sports story, my first client was someone through sport. Someone through tennis, and it was a way for me just to basically generate a bit of extra cash. I was doing kind of maintenance jobs, painting, decorating kitchens. That then got into lettings, property management, finding tenants, managing houses, and then the big leap was from then that client that said, "Actually, I want to sell a house. Do you want to have a go at selling it for me?" And I thought, well, yeah, I'll give it a go. I remember saying to myself, what's the worst that could happen? That was in my mindset way back then. What's the worst that could happen? It all goes wrong. What's the worst that could happen? So I did it, put some photographs on Facebook and did a little bit of an advert, stuck it on, and a few months later it sold, and this chap gave me £1,000. And I remember at the time that was like my light bulb going of, I've just earned what I earn in a month from one transaction. Wow. Is this just a one-off? Or if I could replicate this? And then I saw the bigger picture of, wow, this could be something. So that's the route that I went down. I did that for a while.
Let me ask you one question on that, because I think there could be a gem in there. You went from lifeguard to earning that extra money, like you said, selling a house. What's the worst that could happen? Yeah. Pretty sure it's the Dr. Pepper slogan, by the way, which I love.
Is it?
Around that. But I want to drill in on that for a minute, because that movement from going essentially from employee mindset to business owner mindset, do you remember what that was actually like? Because it can be a big step when you're used to doing things as a job to then go out on yourself, right? What's the worst that could happen? What else?
Well, so at the time I was still a lifeguard, and I'm still friends with a lot of people who I lifeguarded with. Best friend to a lot of them, and they all know that for kind of a period of must have been 3 to 6 months I was lifeguarding and kind of setting up, running the business. So the mindset was, what's the worst that can happen? So I'll just keep lifeguarding. So if it fails, I've tried it, and if it doesn't work, then not a problem. I'll be a lifeguard. And if it does work, then wow, what an opportunity. So my mindset very much was, at the time, obviously, I rented a house. My income didn't need to be extraordinary high, because I had no risk. So that kind of mindset was, let's give it a shot. Yes, obviously now, looking back, it was a bit easy for me there. I didn't have any didn't really have any pressures on me from any external people, etc. It was very much, I was renting a house, and that was kind of, if it didn't work, it didn't work. So yeah, it was, I just kind of jumped into it. Really, and obviously it worked. Here we are. It's what a journey, but I just went for it, I guess. I didn't really think too much.
But I think that's the key thing there, right?
Yeah, I didn't overthink it, I guess. It's probably the best, but I didn't overthink it. I didn't overcomplicate it. It was very much, I'll give it a go. What's the worst that can happen? If it works, great. If it doesn't work, then it doesn't work. It's right.
Such a gem, because I speak to a lot of people who want to start running, and they're thinking about every possible direction it could go. And by the time
they think it, don't they?
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying there, is just like, what you've done is just seen the opportunity. What's the worst that could happen? Let's go for it. And that's oftentimes it. You just have to try it, and you learn. I'm guessing all that, the experience you've got now came through doing it. You didn't go to university on how to do property. No. You just learned it through action, right?
Yeah. I mean, that kind of mindset, I guess, delving into that, it's been applied in quite a lot of the decision making. Obviously now we're at a bigger scale, I've got a lot of responsibility. So of course I don't just do something of a whim, but it's still very much, well, what's the worst that can happen? Well, there is a lot of things that can happen, but let's measure them against what the outcomes could be, the positive outcomes, and that's still kind of how I guess decision make, is looking at the outcomes and looking at the negatives. And obviously now it's not a case of, well, let's do it, but it's still kind of, a lot of people are very, like you say, overthinkers, and I still very much, if I see a good idea here, it's right, let's make the decision quick. What are the bad things, what are the positives, and weigh it up and then go for it. And kind of, I've made a lot of decisions, obviously, in the past 9 years, and touch wood. They've all been pretty good decisions. There's been some bad decisions, of course there has. But yeah, that was the mindset at the time, and obviously that mindset, I guess, has kept me right so far.
I think one more thing I've just recognised for you is your speed at actioning things.
Yeah.
Right. Like, for example, yesterday, asking about potential venture in the mortgage space, and I think it was something like minutes after we left, we'd already arranged the next meeting.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing, kind of when you've got that decision that needs to be made. Some decisions, of course, take time, and that's a process you have to follow. But I'm very much kind of, I'm my boss. I can make those decisions. I can make them as quick or as slow as I want. But my mindset's always been, if something needs doing, do it. Don't wait a day or 2 days or a week, because you're losing time. So yeah, we met yesterday and we had a bit of a meeting about something we're going to be working on hopefully in the future. And yeah, we met, and then an hour later I was like, right, I've already started. And you were like, what?
Yes.
But don't mess around. Kind of, it needs to happen. It's something we've both been talking about for a while. So yeah, let's get cracked on. So yeah, speed's always a big one as well. And obviously that's, I guess, how the businesses have grown so quick, is because it's very much been bang, bang, bang.
Let's talk about the estate agency for a bit, the baby, as you said.
Definitely.
So, yeah, just talk me through, I guess we can continue with that story. So when you started out, did you open a place straight away? Were you bootstrapping it from the bedroom?
So that's the funny bit. So people say, well, what was your goal at the time? That's the question I get asked all the time. What was your goal? What was your goal to grow this multi-million pound business? No, the goal was basically earn a bit more money to help me live. And then, of course, when that became realistic, it was then, well, all right, maybe earn a couple of grand a month, leave the job, and then have an easy life. And kind of that was the goal. The first goal at the time was do that. And of course, now it's that goal seems an eternity ago. But yeah, that was the original goal. It was just to earn a couple of grand a month, have a fairly chilled life, not have to work as much, and see what happens. And of course, once I got to that level, I left my job and went kind of full throttle about the estate agency. At that point, I just bought my first house, so I saved up, bought my first house, and was renovating that kind of slowly over time. It took ages, nearly a year to renovate that fully. And I was working from my spare room in the house. It was a 3-bed end terrace house, and I was working from the spare room in that, and slowly growing the business. But at that time, it was incredibly slow. I always use the analogy of like the snowball effect. As the snowball gets bigger, the bigger it grows. At that point, the snowball was a little baby snowball, but it was still growing. And what I was doing at the time then was I was learning. So kind of, I look back at my journey, and when I have these conversations with people, I always talk about kind of key decisions that I made that helped me to achieve where I am. One of the first key decisions I made was become regulated by the governing body. So estate agency is an unregulated industry. Anybody could set up an estate agency. So I always get asked, well, how did you set up an estate agency at 17, 18 years old? You don't need to go to university or do this or do that. And it's very much like, no, I could just basically say, I'm an estate agent and do it. As a governing body, there's a redress scheme you've got to join, and you've got to have insurance, but you don't have to join the governing body, you don't have to have any qualifications, you can just kind of do it. So that's how I started, but very early on I realised if I was going to become a solid name, a big name, and grow this properly, I needed to do it properly. So kind of the first key decision, I guess, was to get qualified through the governing body, through the property line, it's called, and then do the course and become regulated. So that was the first big decision, and that's what I did while I was kind of growing it small. And I did that from home, to the point where we then obviously started growing to a fairly good size. So yeah, that was kind of how it started. And of course, then as the business grew and we got a bit of a name for ourselves, I was able to then grow the team. And obviously the business grew, we got a bit of a brand. And then the second big decision was buying out a rival company. So we bought out the Walshe branch. A guy called Chris, who I still keep in touch with now, he obviously retired, and I bought him out. And at a similar time, this was a crazy year. I want to say it was 2019. Borrowed lots of money that year. Bought out a rival kind of estate agency, historically one of the biggest in the area, and that's like a big, I remember that, I've told you about it, yeah, and that made national news. There was like national news coverage, because it was new to the block, no one's really heard of that, a bit name, but no one's really heard of me. Buys out kind of longest standing, super successful company, so I did that, and then I bought our office. So the second property I bought, our office where we still are today, it was a derelict. Very derelict. I'll show you some videos of it. I'll show you them after it was. We stripped it, basically built it from scratch. And that year, it was crazy. But we bought out the old Your Move and then did this office. And that, I guess, at that point is then when we really were kind of like, we're here to stay. Because we've been growing quietly for couple of years and bought out one of the longest standing companies, opened up an office in like the prime location within the local town. And obviously the office was then fully renovated, so brand new, it looked really smart. And it was very much like, right, we're here to stay. And then all the other companies, I guess, started to notice us. And of course, at that point, the snowball was like that, and then it just exploded from there, really. So, yeah.
Let's dive into growth. Yeah, I always love my marketing hat. Always love to dive.
Yeah, of course. Well, at some point, we'll start working with you as well, and of course that will help. Hence why we're still clients 5 years later.
Yeah, you are pretty sure our longest standing estate agent client, which I'm very, and first ever podcast guest. We've got a few different.
If we talk back 5 years, it will be at the point of we're 2023 now. It'll be 2018. It'll be ours in the growth stage when we started working with you. So that's how long ago it was. Because obviously we're still a client, so I've got you to thank, I guess, for
everything, all your success. That's good.
There you go. But no, I guess we'll start working with you during thinking about it now during the growth stage, which kind of makes sense because that's kind of what you do. So yeah, it works. That's good marketing tool for you there. You have to clip this and well, yeah, so it must have been 2018, and I'd say fairly sure it was about 2019 you're moving office, but don't quite have to look back.
Something like that.
Something like that.
So what were the key things that you were doing back then to grow? Obviously, buying, acquisition, key part, office, huge. Yeah. I still remember exactly what your office looks like from the photos. Really stands out.
Yeah, really nice, modern, sleek.
What other kind of things were you?
Yeah, so obviously at that time I would have been 21, 22, so obviously youngest in the industry, and of course what a lot of people haven't done locally is adapted to technology. So of course, you work with you, for example, was a super modern thing that no one else was doing. And of course, that was one small part. There was loads of other modern kind of things that we were doing at the time that a lot of companies locally hadn't started doing. And the other big one, which I'm not afraid to say, which a lot of people are, is hard work, is knocking on doors, dropping leaflets, picking up the phone, ringing people, working 10, 11, 12 hours a day, 6, 7 days a week. Kind of, you don't get anywhere without hard work. Yes, Cristiano Ronaldo, how he's become such a successful footballer. He wasn't born like it. He's worked hard his whole entire life. So the big one is hard work. Of course, there's lots of innovative things that we did. We bought out companies. Since then, we've done 4 or 5 acquisitions. We've done quite a lot. Yeah, we've done quite a lot. Like I say, unique marketing, all the other stuff. But the big one is hard work. Like you say, work smart, work hard. All those decisions were smart, buying out the companies, using the unique marketing, that's smart. But if you just did that, but then I work 2 hours a day, all of that, I would have had more of a success. But it's working hard bit was kind of the thing that a lot of people see when they see online and they see these super successful people, and they don't see the hard work behind it, because no one really gets super successful without working hard, just putting in a long hours. Yeah, it might be the other person, but really, they've worked hard to get to where they are. And I am no different. Ask anyone who knows me what to just do, work all the time. That's all I do. But I love it. So to me, it's not just work. It's what I do.
Yeah, I really think that is just the key. If I could boil it down to a few things for you, I see. Because obviously we've worked with many estate agents at this point, so we've got a ton of experience and data points. It's like it is that. That's one of the few things I see. It's that acting fast. You move quickly once you've got the information, and you just don't seem to have as much fear as other people. So a lot of agents, like I said, if they're working with us, they're scared to invest, or they're scared to go self-employed. Or there's a lot of fear in it, right? Let's just call it this. But with you, obviously you experience fear, I'm sure, you're a human being, but you don't seem to let it stop you from taking
No. Well, it's a funny one, because like I say, that year, 2018, 2019, was the year where I borrowed an awful lot of money. And the big one, I remember when I bought the office, and I'm always transparent with figures. I think I bought it for 120, 130 grand. It was derelict, like it was completely derelict. I bought it, and I remember buying it, and I remember telling mum and dad, and I bought it, and one of the first things I ripped it to pieces, and we knocked half of it down. So I bought this massive building and knocked half of it down, because we had no parking. And I was like, I need parking because we're going to grow a team. I bought this building, borrowed all this money, 80 grand I borrowed at 21. And I just borrowed money to buy yours. I borrowed a lot of money at the young age, and I'd obviously by then I bought a couple of houses. So I was kind of stopped leveraging cash, which I'm sure we'll come to again, property investing. But I remember telling everybody, so I bought this building, and I've borrowed all this money, and then I've knocked part of it down. And they were like, what? You borrowed all this money, bought money, and knocked half of it down. What on earth are you doing? And I was like, I have a plan. It's going to work. I knew what I was doing, and I was very much, this is the plan. This is what we're doing. And it was like, again, quick decision making, and of course we're still in the same office now, 4 or 5 years later. Yeah, of course that's fair. Even now I'm making big decisions when we're buying property or buying land or whatever, and it's like, is this going to work? But you measure that. You measure the outcome of, well, is it going to be successful? How successful is it going to be? What are the risks? And the thing is, once you've made that decision, you do it. You don't then make the decision and then think, oh, actually, do we? Once you've decided, you do it. I think that's where a lot of people come unstuck. They kind of see something, have an idea, or have a plan, then overthink it first of all, then they make the decision, and then they second overthink it. And before you know it, that opportunity's gone. That happens quite a lot.
Yeah. Well, I think it's one of the other key things I've noticed with you is investing. Like when we were talking as well, you were talking about a lot of successful business owners, but then they don't necessarily know how to keep that wealth they accumulate. Investing has seemed to be a big part of your overall pie that's made you successful.
100%.
Obviously, you've got the investment arm of the business, which you'll also talk about.
Yeah.
So for you, numbers, right? You seem very calculated in the decisions that you make. How do you, for someone who's newer to that, let's just say to start with, where do you begin?
Right. Well, going back a bit then. So obviously, like you said, you've got the two kind of income driver businesses. You've got estate agency, mortgage space. The third one is kind of the holding company, the investment company that develops, it builds, and it buys and it renovates and it holds. And the investment company is not the most important company, obviously, but it's the one that kind of, I guess, that's a word, but a lot of my time, like thinking time, goes into growing the investment. Because of course that is my legacy, it's my pension, it's my future. And there's a lot of successful businesses that sell a lot of products or sell a lot of services and earn a lot of money. And money gets reinvested back in the company, of course, but they never have that investment. They never have that wall put that aside. Part of the estate agency, because of course the estate agency now, we've grown it into this animal where we don't just sell and rent out houses, we do all sorts. We've got commercial, we've got land consultancy where we work with a lot of farms. We do all sorts now with the estate agency, just so we can make sure we're offering the full kind of service book of someone's to us, we can offer what you need. But one of the bits that I guess I enjoy the most, I enjoy everything, but one of the bits I enjoy the most is what we call the portfolio builder. So we work with people who are like property investors or want to be property investors. We've now got clients all over the world who are property investor clients to us, who we have helped get into property, or if they're already in property, we've helped build a portfolio with us. And it's something that actually, when you lay it down and look at it kind of point by point, it's very simple. Of course, you need money. But once you've got money, getting into property and being successful out of it is very simple. And I've obviously been here with a few of your guys, and I've given all them a plan. We've sat down with some of your team, and I've given them a clear plan of over the next 12 to 18 months, if you do this, the outcome will be you will be able to buy a house. And for someone to be your team, 20, 21 years old, they've got plans. If they do that consistently for 12 months, they will be able to buy their first investment house at 21 years old. And the task I've given them isn't difficult. You know what I've told them, it's not a difficult task. They should be able to achieve that. And I'll be keeping tabs on them, don't worry. And the mindset is, once you've got that plan, investing is quite easy. And investing is a way, you use the phrase, you hear it, financial freedom. You hear it all the time. And it is a way that can quite easily be achieved if you aim know what you're doing, which of course we can help with, there's lots of people out there can help with, and be a consistent with that plan. Now my portfolio is grown and grown and grown. We've now got commercial property, residential, HMOs, flats. It's you can find it all on Company's House how much it's worth if you want to. It's now quite a sizable portfolio that's grown obviously year on year. But my aim is all the money that the businesses make, that doesn't need to be reinvested back into the businesses. It goes into property. I don't wear designer clothes. I don't spend money on crazy watches. I don't go mad on that kind of stuff. It goes into property.
House though. Your house is pretty
I bought my house not very much. In reality, I bought my house. It was pretty much derelict. It is nice now. I've spent a lot of money on it over the time, but of course that's the investment. Yeah. I didn't buy a nice house over price. I bought a house that I've had to do everything to, and that's an investment. I've made quite a lot of money on that house. So you are right, but equally it's an investment. Because property, that's the beauty of it. Property is a great investment, and like I said, so the portfolio building stuff I really enjoy because, of course, for us it's very profitable. Because, of course, we can source the house, we can do the finance for them, we can then renovate it for them, we can then manage it for them. So for the businesses, it's like, well, we get paid 4 times for that one client. It's great from my point of view. But then equally for the client, we've got clients now that we've made them extremely wealthy. We've got clients that had no property that are now got portfolios. That are now we've got clients fully retired from the advice we're giving them, and that's a great feeling. And the advice we're giving isn't that complicated. Spoke to you about it, and the reality is it's not that difficult. So, yeah.
What's the advice for people who want to?
Yeah, so the advice, and so, well, just going back to the question goes, yeah, so you see a lot of business owners who are earning a lot of money, 10 grand, 20 grand, whatever a month. And they're spending that in the business, and then they're spending that on whatever. So the age-old saying, you earn 10 grand a month, you spend 10 grand a month. You then earn 15 grand a month, you then spend 15 grand a month. You then earn 20 grand, they spend 20 grand. So the advice that I've given your team was 1,500 quid. That's what you live off, which they can live comfortably, but they're not going to go out partying on yachts or that holidays. That's your base. Anything you earn over that goes in a savings pot, gets put in an ISA, savings account, whatever. And that is kind of the best way to build that pot of money. And you've got to be very, very strict with that. If you have a good month, don't think, right, I'm going to go buy a new watch. You've got to be very strict. And that's the mindset of, it's not going to work if you're not strict by it. So that's the first part. And then once you've got that pot of money built up, the rest of it's quite easy. Speak to someone like me. There's lots of me's in the UK that would be able to give you the advice and that would be able to help you do it. And once you've got that pot money built up, start in the process. And there's loads of techniques. You can do what you call buy, refurb, refinance, rent, buy a house that needs work, buy it, renovate it, rent it out, and then refinance it, pull out that equity you've built. Once you've pulled out that equity, use that, recycle the cash and put that back into the house. And that's kind of what I've done. Of course, businesses that have grown, so I've put that money into property. Of course, we've built, so make profit from that. So of course, everything I've had really has gone into property. Every spare penny I've had has gone into property. That's why the portfolio has grown so quickly. And like I say, going back to what you said, there's people that have been earning serious figures for their whole entire life and then retire. And they're worth nothing. They've sold the business, yeah, and they've sold it for a good amount, but they've not got any legacy. They've not got a property portfolio that they can then hand down to future generations. And it's amazing how common you see it. Really, really good business owners that are amazing at running whatever business it is, but then don't have that kind of investor mindset. And it's quite common, and it doesn't take much. Like I say, it's very easy to have that mindset where you don't earn very much money, but you set yourself up for life. And like if you're right, set up future generations as well.
Okay. Let's talk about mortgages. You've done estate agency, a bit about investing, we'd love to talk about mortgages. Because this is something I know less about, my side of things. But I think it's also one of the most, has such high potential, like we were just talking about before. There's a ceiling is a lot higher up with mortgage companies. So when did that come about? When did you decide how did you have the audacity as a 20-year-old or something to set up a mortgage company? Yeah. How did that come about?
Yeah, so going back then to talk about how it happened. So going back, the mindset was lifeguarded, started a business, started out doing maintenance. And then, like I said, my mindset from then was, well, if I can do maintenance and that person needs management, why can't I do management? So it's very much, if they've already kind of like a captive customer, they already like me, they work with me, they're happy with what I'm doing, but they're going to use me for one thing, but they're then going to use someone else for this, and this. But why can't I do this, and this? So that was the mindset. So that's how the estate agency grew. So we now offer loads of services. We're not just we're not a jack of all trades, master of none. We're very much, we've mastered all. But it was very much, we started out with one thing, mastered that, and then like, right, let's do sales. Right, let's do commercial. Let's do land. Let's do this. Let's do this. And then kind of halfway through that journey, it was, we were working with a mortgage advisor. We were passing on referrals to him. And the mindset was, well, why can't I do that? I'm already running a successful estate agency. We've started out with agents. We're now doing lettings. We're now doing sales. We're now doing commercial. Why can't we do finance? So it's very much a, why can't I do that? What's the worst that can happen? Same mindset. And of course, it's a lot more complicated. It's a regulated industry. There's a lot more to it. There's a lot more moving parts. So it was something that was a slow start. And definitely I made a couple of mistakes in that industry and a couple of wrong decisions. But I learned a lot from that. But yeah, the reason it started really was we were referring our business, and my mindset was, well, why can't we do that internally? We were referring out, getting paid 20%. I want to say, I think we were getting paid 20%, 10%, whatever it was. Well, why can't we keep 100% of that? Why can't I do that? And the reality was, yes, there was barriers in place, but everything has a barrier. Every goalkeeper has a goal. So, I looked at how can I overcome those barriers. So of course that's the route that I went down, and the mortgage space was born, which is now a very successful financial service company. Like I say, offering all sorts of financial services throughout the United Kingdom, which is amazing. And it's the company that kind of I am very excited by. You've already alluded to it. It is very scalable. We've got some fantastic mortgage advisors as we speak right now at the end of September. I don't know when this goes live, but we've got in the pipeline some more mortgage advisors due to start with us, which is exciting. So it's a business, it's an industry that is very exciting. It's very fast paced, which I like. You've already kind of said I am very fast paced. Mortgages is very fast paced, which is exciting. And it's a huge industry. Everybody, near enough everybody, at some point in their life will have had a mortgage. And of course, when you're buying a house, you need a mortgage. When you're selling a house and buying a house, you need a mortgage. Most mortgages are 2, 3, 5 year fixed. So of course, every 2, 3 or 5 years, you renew them and you need them on the mortgage broker. So of course, it's an industry that really is huge potential. I do love the mortgage industry, and we work with some great people as well.
I just random curious question. I think the stat in estate agency is something like 60% of people don't use the estate agent they used previously. So less people than more don't use the previous estate agent.
I don't know that.
Which is really interesting. You compare that to the US model, it's like 80% do.
Well, I know through the estate agency, we have a lot of repeat customers. So we must be doing something right.
I imagine you
But
do.
I'm surprised by that. So what's the 60% of people will use an estate agent and then not use them?
Yeah, they'll use a different one next time. Right. So there's obviously a lot being left on the table there. But I was curious for mortgages, because I don't know much about it. Do you know how, like, is repeat customers common?
Yeah, well, I don't know a national stat, but I know we've been going along enough now through the mortgage space, but we have a lot of repeat customers. And a big thing we do have is referrals. In every industry, in every company, sorry, I've got a lot of referrals. We work with a lot of people who can become like little champions of me, I guess. It's quite nice where I always get messages saying, oh, I've had so and so on here. And through the mortgage industry, we get a lot of referrals. It's common sense. You do a good job for somebody, they're happy, they tell their friend. But yeah, we are now at the level where we are getting a lot of repeat customers through the mortgage space. People that have used us for a mortgage, they've took out a 2-year deal, and then that 2 deals expired. They've come back to us to renew it again. Of course, if you manage that properly, you can have customers for life, which is the other exciting part. Because this is why I like property, is you kind of see the journey of life. You see somebody buy their first house. You see a young couple, a young person buy their first house. You then see them upsize. You then see a family buy their dream home. You then see them retire and move into a bungalow. Then, of course, the reality is you see people that probate pass away, and that bungalow obviously then gets sold and it goes to the next person who's retiring. So you see kind of the full, from getting on the property ladder, you see the whole journey. And, of course, throughout that journey, most of them will need a mortgage advisor. And of course, estate agency and mortgage advice, they're obviously separate companies, but they work very closely together for the benefit of all of our clients, which is great, which I love. Because of course, the customer always comes first. And if we can offer a good service to them, having it all internally so I can make sure that they are getting looked after, that's important. It means a lot to me that I know our customers are getting the best possible results.
Let's go macro for a second. In 2024, obviously, you've got fixed mortgages moving on to variable rate, more interest rates going up. On average, the stat I read was the average person will be paying an extra £500 a month on their mortgage, right? So we've got a 2008 potential thing coming here. What does that mean from your, obviously, I'm sure it's something you've been thinking about. What does the
the advice I can give people is to speak to a mortgage advisor. First of all, the stat is at the minute 4 out of 5 mortgages are written by a mortgage advisor. There are hundreds of really good mortgage advisors throughout the UK, and you can speak to us, and you can speak to anybody. But I would say read reviews, look online, referrals are great. The advice I would give is speak to a mortgage advisor to make sure that you are getting the best advice. If you go to a bank, the bank will only tell you about their mortgages. There's hundreds of banks. You can't physically go to hundreds of banks. Speak to a mortgage advisor, they will show you. If they're older market like we are, they'll be able to show you all of the products available to make sure that you are doing what is best for you. Because it's a scary time. People are going for mortgages at 2.5%, and it's looking likely they're going to be going to mortgages that are then somewhere from 5, 6, 6.5, who knows where it'll be in 6 months' time, but they're certainly going to be more than what they are. And of course, people's mortgages, like you say, a minute every 100,000 borrowed is an extra £100 a month. Is a rough estimate. So if you've got a £200,000 mortgage, you're £200 more a month, which is a lot of money. Especially for people when they were buying, kind of when mortgages were cheap, and they were absolutely maxing out trying to buy the biggest house, which a lot of people did, which is kind of what it is. Money's tight, and the problem is, and kind of what I guess economists are worried about, is not just mortgage rates that have gone up, and this is the issue. If it was just mortgages and it was just £200 a month, you'd think, well, we can swallow it, we'll cancel Netflix and we'll do this, we can make it work. But the problem is, mortgages have gone up, fuel's gone up, gas, electric's gone up, food has gone up, everything's gone up. So it is worrying. And if you ask anybody in the industry, unless they're lying to you, they are fine. It is a scary time. But kind of what I would say, speak to an expert, because that's what we're here. We're here to help and to make sure that you've got the best advice so that you can do what is best for you financially and you personally. And that might be the harsh reality of, look, the mortgage is unaffordable, sell your house, downsize. It might be that. Or it might be, it's going to be a bit tighter. You might have to tighten the spending and lose Netflix and lose Sky, but we'll refinance, we'll do remortgaging and keep the house, but tighten the purse a little bit. So yeah, the advice for 2024 and from now is speak to an expert. And there's lots of good experts out there. Make sure you're speaking to someone who knows what they're doing so that you are kind of protected financially.
What about from a business perspective? So that's advice to people. What about business owners or for yourself? How do you, looking into the future, how do you prepare for that yourself?
Yeah, so from obviously the mortgage point of view, one reason why I love the business so much is it's a fairly safe industry, because it doesn't matter whether the economy is up or down, they still need mortgages. People still need the advice. Of course, it gets harder because the advice you're giving is tough. Of course, the industry was easy when it was 2% mortgages. You were everybody's best friend. Because of course, you could get the mortgages for dirt cheap prices. You could get them their dream homes into everybody's best friends. So of course, that was the easy part. Whereas now, obviously, it's tough conversations. You've got to have those conversations, like I've just said, sell the house or tighten the purse strings. But of course, they still need us. The tough one planning the business in the future is the estate agency. These people, obviously, the housing market in our area that we cover, down in Lincolnshire, and prices are down about 10% at kind of best. Some areas down 15%. That's scary. Again, we are the bad guys. When someone bought a house a year ago at 100 grand and it's now worth 90. Of course, you've got to have those tough conversations. So one of the big things I've done on the estate agency side in the last year we've already been pretty diverse. As we've said, we already did lettings, commercial, very well, but we've made sure we are as diverse as possible. We've become experts in every single field, so that a customer, when they need us, we're able to help them. And that's really the property portfolio build service it's been a thing for years, but I've put a lot more kind of time and energy the last few years into that, because I know that industry will never die. There'll always be people who want to invest in property, but that's something, I guess, to kind of protect and ring fence the estate agency from house sales, because ultimately house sales for us and for everybody will be down. And I remember reading online, it was at Foxtons or one of the big Foxtons, Savills, they were down millions this year already from what they were the year before. So if you look at their figures, they're down, everybody's going to be down. So yeah, so kind of being diverse and making sure all our eggs aren't in one basket, which again, a lot of businesses don't do. But yeah, the mortgage side, it will be fine. The customers will always be there. It's just the rubbish bit is, it's gone from having the really nice, happy conversations of you can help someone buy their dream home to you need to sell the dream home, some of them, and that will be happening. And the reality is, it is what it is. You can't change it. It's a reality. You're going to have to do it. Some people, and it will happen.
How do you think that period will last?
Personal opinion, 12 to 18 months from now, I think. It's going to be here for a long haul. It's cyclical, it's cyclical. Property markets always go up and down. Anybody who thought mortgage rates were going to be 2% forever and property prices were going to skyrocket forever, they needed to get in the real world. It's cyclical. It's very normal. It's not the first time that house prices have dropped. It's not the first time there's been repossessions. It's not the first time that interest rates rose. And equally, they will come back down and prices will go back up. But I think we're in it for at least another 12, 18 months, to be honest. That's what, in my mind, that's what I'm thinking. I hope it's a lot less, obviously, but I always plan for the worst and then cross your fingers for the best is all you can do.
Well, let's wrap up on a positive note.
Yeah.
Your vision.
Yeah.
I would love to, we've talked about what you've done up until now, you've achieved and shared your lessons. What is your vision for the future? If you project personally and business, I'd love to know how you do that.
So my kind of vision, we discussed business, we didn't discuss politics, but some people don't.
If that's in the vision.
It is, well, I love politics. I mean, we'll discuss it quickly. So the politics side of it, obviously I'm very the youngest ever in the area, and one of the youngest in the country at the time. And it was a really interesting one because, of course, at that point, young people don't get into politics. The average age going into politics is double the age I was, if not a bit more. And politics was a nice one because it was able to open a lot of doors for me from a personal point of view. So, of course, I thought, well, it's going to help me grow as a person. Well, the main reason I wanted to do it was to be able to help and give back. And when I had got involved in politics and when I got elected, the area had already given me a lot. Businesses were already getting to the point where we were kind of fairly successful to the point where I was happy. And politics allows you to kind of have influence policy making, influence decisions, which ultimately will help the future, help the future generations. And from the politics, I've then got involved in quite a lot of charities. I've got involved at my governor at a primary school. I love doing that. I'm able to help give back. And we were chatting yesterday about the sport and speaking to the head teacher at that school. And we were talking about sport in school and how it helps the mindset. And so I'm actually going to go into the school where I was chatting with the teacher while I'm out here about going to do table tennis in the school, which will be fun. I'm looking forward to that. So vision, I guess, on a wider point of view. Of course, I want the businesses to grow. Who wouldn't? And the businesses are growing and they will continue to grow. I have no doubt of that. I trust my ability, I guess, is what I'll say. So the businesses, I want them all to grow and I want to keep building the team and building a legacy. And that's for all of them across the board. Politics, I love the politics side of it, and I want to continue being able to help and give back and shape change for both where I am, but influence nationally, I guess, as well. If I'm able to do that, help make the place a better place for everybody to live and work in. And the big one for me, opportunity on the politics side, is making sure people have equal opportunity. Because there's lots of talented people out there who don't get opportunity. So that's a big one. But vision, I guess, would be to grow that. And then from a personal point of view, I want to settle down. I do want to settle down. I want to have a family. And I guess everybody does, don't they? Who in life doesn't really want to settle down and have a family, go on nice holidays, and build that legacy with someone else? I think that's everybody's vision. I know it is yours. You're very happy with your new partner, aren't you? So I've met her. Well, I've been she's lovely. So I know that's your vision. It's definitely mine. Just making sure I find the right person to share that journey with, I guess, is the big thing for me.
Any ladies? You know where to hit up, link in the description.
There you go.
One final question for you before we wrap up. So you've actually put a fast forward in your life. You completed that vision. So you've got the legacy, the businesses, amazing family.
Yeah.
So much so that's your final day here on Earth.
Okay.
Regardless of what your beliefs are after that, doesn't matter right now. It's your final day. And everything you've accumulated, you actually can't leave behind to your family that you care about the most. But you can leave them with one piece of wisdom or some advice. What would you tell those people?
That's really unfair. I'm going to leave them with one. Leaving them with one is really...
If you've got a couple top ones, I'll
yeah, well, I've definitely got the top one because one is really tough because there'd be so many. I'd be like, right, give me 30 seconds so I can write a few. Humility and being humble is a big one. Definitely. It doesn't matter who you are, what you are. Being humble, humility is a huge one. Whether that be number one, it's up there. Yeah, manners is again similar to that. Manners got nothing. That's what I was raised up. Big for me. I guess the second, I'll do two. So humility is what I can't just do one. And then the second one, and I'm going to try and be cheat here a little bit, I guess, because it's going to be two, is going to be hard work and don't be afraid to fail. So I guess I've done three, sorry. So hard work, don't be afraid of hard work, and equally don't be afraid to fail. And always be humble. I couldn't do one, sorry.
No, that's right. You're all very good, okay.
There we go.
Thank you so much for coming on, Josh.
Pleasure.
Pleasure.
Thank you.
If anyone wants to find you, where's the best place to?
I guess whatever, LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, we're everywhere. If you Google me or the businesses, Walshe's property or the mortgage space, you'll be able to find us.
There'll be links in the description as well.
Amazing. Perfect.
Amazing.
Thank you.
That's good fun.
Good.
How you feeling?
All right. Good fun.
Yeah.
One piece of advice is a tough one. I think I can leave with one. Humble in humility is a big one.
No, I think that's amazing. I find it really fascinating.
Yeah, the Sandys. Did I show you the first Sandy?
Yeah.
I just can't believe it. Kind of, it's sad, really. And being humble, it gets you a long way in life. Definitely. There's a lot of people who know. You see, I'm making 200 grand a month, and so much my course, and this is like, no. You see it all the time, and and the fun of it is, then young people see these idiots who aren't humble, and so they think their success has come from not being humble, so then they're not humble. And kind of Sam, Freddie, Jake, they're like, Josh, I can't believe how humble you're here sleeping on the sofa. Like, what are you doing? And I'm like, I don't care.
Yeah.
Not bothered. What are you doing to me? As long as I'm safe. I'm sleeping on the sofa or sleeping in a £10,000 a night kind of hotel, I'm not fussed. And they were like, I can't believe you're doing that.
I think it's also another big good point. It's like what you actually value, right? Because, for example, you're not afraid of buying an incredible property to do up, renovate. That's obviously a lot of money.
Of course it is, yeah.
But then you value that, right? Yeah. Versus the room you sleep in, maybe not as much. And I think that's.
And don't get me wrong.
That compared to humility as well.
It does. And the thing is, obviously, the big house for me, of course, first of all, I wouldn't do it if it lost money.
Yeah.
So it is a financial investment. Of course, it will then have an amazing house and it'll be cool. But the thing I'm doing that for is for the family, for the upbringing that it would give children. What an amazing life growing up on a 4-acre house with animals and a pool and a this and that. I mean, you can't give kids a better life than that, can you? I don't think it can. So that's why I'm doing it. It is for the future, I guess. But yeah, it's been humble. I said the guys come out, well, how are you told me, boy? I'm not, this is the thing, I don't think I am. I'm just me. Yeah. I don't go out of my way to, like, help people or do that. It's just who I am. And you do get pleasure out of helping people. And it does feel nice. When, like I say, I took Sandy into the zoo and his face was like, I just put it, given him £1 million. That does make me feel good, of course. And it's cost me nothing.
It's the best gift is given.
Yeah,
really. And that's even like with that.
Good for us.
With that,
the best gift is given.
Well, that's what you're doing with that house. Of course, you're building that, but it's ultimately to give to your family.
Exactly.
So I think it's the best gift.
Yeah. No, I like helping people. Like I say, I've given James and Freddie a plan of how to become successful. And as long as they stick to it, and it sounds to be fair today, sat down to Mark Josh, and I'm going to make about £2,500 a month this month, so I'm going to put £1,000 away in savings. I was like, yes, he's listening. Because obviously, £1,000, Sam, that's never make it £25 a month. It seems like nothing, but he said, what if I then get £10,000, I'll make me £250 a month? Yeah. What if I get £100,000, £2,500 a month? Yeah. He was like, oh my God. I think he's realised the power of compounding and the power of investing. I think he's clicked with it. Because he's very much now, he thinks that he's like, I'm going to do £2,500, not put £1,000 away. I'm pleased it's definitely resonated with him. It's definitely stuck in his mind. The other two, who knows? But if one of the three end up kind of becoming successful from it, great.
That's a win.
Because there's a lot of people who aren't. A lot of people who earn mega money who never ever have that level of investing success. And ultimately, that's where you really build a legacy that you can then, like, say, A, have financial freedom if that's what you want. But B, it's something you pass down to future generations. Which, what better way to be able to know when you leave this world that your children, grandchildren, are going to be looked after from your hard work? I think that's an incredible feeling.
Absolutely.
So you need to do it. So yeah, next time.
I'll take the notes, don't you worry.
Good. Like I said, more than happy to help.
Yeah. I'd be remiss if I didn't ask you to do an updated testimonial with us, as we're both here.
Yeah, of course we can. Of course, yeah.
Alright, cool.
Is it still recording? It never stopped, didn't it?
Could be, yeah. I don't know.
If it's not recorded, that would be better than fucking press play.
Yes. We press play.
Bit of tap butterfly. So this will give me up going.
I just keep it all. Just yeah. What am I thinking in my head? Right, we've got one of our longest standing clients, Josh, who runs Walshe's property with us, for a quick update on how things have gone in the 5 years that we've been working together. First of all, thank you for being here in Bali with us in our office.
Yeah,
that's pretty cool. This is the first time we've done this with a client.
So. Yeah, is it really?
Yeah, we've never done it.
Never had a face. Never even done a.
We've gone to a few clients' offices, but we've never,
done it in Bali.
In this setting.
Yeah. So, if you're a client that leaves us for 5 years, he flies you out now. No, so we're here. Yeah, I've been here for a couple of weeks, spending a bit of time with you, and having a bit of a mini holiday, and obviously we've known each other 5 years, been working together for 5 years, and I know over those 5 years we've had many successes, which is great. And my business has certainly grown in those 5 years. And I know when we started working together, it was just you on your own. You've now got a huge, amazing team, and I've now got a huge, amazing team. And here we are. And those 5 years, am I fair in saying they are for me? Those 5 years have gone very quick.
Yep, absolutely.
Very, very quick. Which is good, I guess, because if it's going quick, it means you're having fun. But yeah, the longest ever, or one of the longest ever clients. And it's great. I mean, we've loved working with you for 5 years, and there'll be another 5 years, another 10 years. I have absolutely no doubt about that whatsoever. So, yeah, it's good.
Appreciate it. For any agents listening, what kind of agent would you recommend us to?
I mean, everybody. So we started working with you such a long time ago. I was very small, you were very small. The model that kind of we worked on, you've not changed. It's you work with agents to help them grow their business, bring in valuations. It's worked for us for 5 years. When I started, we were very small, and we've grown and grown and grown. I know you've got clients who are already kind of market leaders, but you're helping them grow even more. So I guess your clients can be anybody from someone starting out to someone who's well established and successful, because I guess in theory we can do both. We are the client that started out with very little, and we are now with a client who is the market leader in our area. So yeah, I guess if anybody's out there who's seeing this video, who's thinking, what's this company? Have a chat with Yves or someone from his team, find out what they do. I could say firsthand it works, hence why I'm sat here with him. We've been working together for 5 years. Have a chat, see what they've got to say, and I would say give it a try. Because that's what I did 5 years ago, and I've never looked back.
Brilliant. Thank you. Appreciate it.
No problem at all.
Nice. Appreciate that.